This game is so cool. If you haven't seen anything about this game, here's a very quick explanation. It's tower defense meets action games. See her? She's the tower. See them? They're the defense. They can be many things and you decide what role they fill. Some heal, some dish out buffs and debuffs, others will do damage, ranged, or up close depending on what role you give them. See him? That's you. You're action man. And dog petter. That's a good boy. You hit harder than these guys. You're also more mobile, and you have a bigger moveset that lets you do many things. However, you can't do it all against the hordes of enemies that come pouring out of the gates, so the villagers are there to cover you and your tower. Outside of your normal units, there's also a guy who can create barriers and towers that give you buffs. And of course, you can level up your character. His name's So, by the way. And all of the different unit types with various items and upgrades. Now, the goal is to move your tower from one end of the map to the other end. By the way, her name's Yoshiro. At night, you gotta defend her from these horrifying creatures until you get to the end of the path and purify the land of evil, similar to games like Okami or Flower. The moment-to-moment gameplay is a balancing act of deciding when to get into the action yourself and when to move your units around the area for the best strategic approach. Like any good strategy game, different units and different enemy types have certain advantages over one another. More importantly, there are a number of different ways to tackle every level, even with just a handful of units. Even in the relatively short time the demo covers, there are a bunch of different enemy types. The final game looks like it will have many more, as well as a good variety of bosses and stage types to shake things up. Speaking of variety, every level has secret challenges that can be completed to get upgrade points and items. One involves speedrunning the boss in the demo and defeating him within a minute. My first attempt took almost 4 minutes, the next one took about 2, and with a little bit of tweaking, on the third attempt we were able to drop the boss in about 50 seconds. The final stage in the demo felt like a genuine challenge. It added multiple types of enemies, had different routes that you could take which completely changed my strategy for the second half of the level, and they threw a large number of enemies coming at you from multiple directions. What I'm trying to say is that this game is a genuine blast. It's very clear that a lot of love and personality was poured into this project. I personally miss when big studios were willing to make new IPs and take risks, and I think that effort should be rewarded. I mean, just look at the state of not just the games industry, but like all of media. It's all sequels or prequels or side projects that barely differ from the original. There's definitely a place for expanded universes and live service games, at least when they're handled well, but those shouldn't be the only thing in the AAA space. I love that indie games cover such a breadth of ideas and experiences, but I don't think unique, colorful, and experimental games should only come from the indie space. Path of the Goddess feels like a breath of fresh air. While it has elements of certain genres, I don't think there's ever been a blend that feels quite like it, and the art style is incredibly unique. Trust me, this video truly does not do it justice. This game looks absolutely stunning when it's running on your own machine. I truly hope this game is successful, and if I've piqued your interest even a little, I highly recommend checking out the demo before the game comes out on July 19th. And if you like Okami, playing the demo helped net everybody some free crossover items. Who knows, we might get more crossovers in the future. Onimusha would be a great fit, but I'm sure Capcom fans can think of a few others that they'd like to see. Tell me what kind of crossovers you'd like to see in the comments. Capcom's been going through a renaissance these past few years, and I'm hoping that they continue to knock it out of the park. By my estimation, Path of the Goddess is set to be another home run. It's got that experimental feel that the company had back in its PS2 days. It's definitely more niche than their other recent projects, but we need that creative spark in a AAA space. Here's hoping that this game is a success. And again, if I've piqued your interest even a little bit, I highly recommend checking out the demo. One last thing. This game already feels like the biggest sleeper hit this year. I understand that this is going to be a niche title. The fact that you have to explain what the gameplay is, I think is really refreshing. Because so many games are so formulaic anymore, it just gets tedious. This is a game I genuinely feel like I have not played before. And that is something worth celebrating.